Family has always been big in Sicily. The biggest? La Famiglia itself, the Mafia. With this constant threat around, the way to stay safe was to stick close to home. You work with your own, eat with your own, and most importantly, you drink with your own. Suspicious Sicilians wouldn't be caught dead, pun intended, in a place filled with outsiders. But young Palermitani want their city back. And as anyone from Boston will tell you, that's a recipe for revolution. Palermo is now a pretty modern city, but it's still under the thumb of an age-old problem. You want to go to a bar here, be ready to drink at your own risk.
Eduardo. Hey. Hey. How you doing, man? How you doing? Ciao. How you doing?
My buddy Eduardo Zafuto asked me to meet him at Morrison's, one of the new breed of pubs popping up in downtown Palermo. It's part rocker bar, part cocktail lounge, and part Revolution Central. But we'll get back to that in a minute.
Would you like a drink?
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. There's something particular here, something very Sicilian.
Our bartender, Manuel, invented a local exclusive called the Sicilian Pleasure. He pummels lemons and oranges in a glass, adds crushed ice, mandarinetto, the Mandarin version of limoncello, vodka, and verdelho, a citrus soda, with a generous helping of garnish.
So it's typically Sicilian, this drink.
Well,
and why is that?
Oranges are a symbol of Sicily.
Salute!
Back in the 19th century, this tiny island was one of the largest citrus producers in the world. Citrus created a lot of wealth here, but also a monster, the Mafia. Since then, the mob has gone from controlling citrus to basically everything. You want to run a bar here, you better be ready to cough up some pizzo.
Pizzo is protection money. It's a sort of taxation run by the mafia. So basically, if you don't pay, you can have trouble with the mafia.
For a long time, the pizzo was just the cost of doing business here. Anyone who stood up to the mob risked a ride to an early grave. But in 2004, Eduardo and his buddies, fed up with bowing to the mob, got together over a couple of drinks and started a revolution.
You're really saying I'm taking on the mafia by not paying them. What made you do that?
With Addiopizzo, we started a grassroots mass movement against protection money. The mafia have to accept the idea that now there's not just one that say, no, I don't want to pay. It's a mass of people that all together says, I don't want to pay you anymore.
Weren't you afraid at all?
Well, of course, whenever you start a revolution, you are familiar with revolution.
I'm from Boston.
Yeah, exactly. It was dangerous to rebel, but somehow someone had to do it.
Members of Addiopizzo put up signs like this one to show everyone they are not paying bribes, like a beware of dog sign, but with more bite. Since starting in 2004, over 200 businesses have signed up and stood up against the mob.
The mafia is scared of Addiopizzo. They said, we never go inside the Addiopizzo shop because we were sure that if we ask protection money here, we will be reported to the police.
Listen, anyone who's as brave as you are, you even wear the shirt, man. Let me buy you a cocktail, all right?
I don't know, maybe I've seen one too many mob movies, but late night walks in dark alleys, not a good combo. Luckily, there's a happy ending and a drink just around the corner. Malak's Bar, one of the most popular pubs and Addiopizzo's in Palermo.
Whatever you will spend here, you are contributing to the change, not to the mafia.
Does that mean the prices are cheaper?
The way people are packing in here, it looks like it pays to say addio to the mafia.
Something Sicilian.
Oh, sure, Sicilian craft beer, yes.
Malak's is creating a new mob of microbrew fans, and they're drawing big attention with big flavors.
Oh, look at that. Nom.
Do you like it?
Wow, that's pretty rich. What kind of beer is that?
Well, this is a Sicilian beer that is produced in the very west part of Sicily, the area of Trapani.
When I think Sicily, I don't think beer necessarily.
Well, that's true, but on the last years, we have been growing also in breweries.
Italy has always mass-produced pale lagers. I can get a Peroni at the gas station by my house. But after Addiopizzo ripped the mob a new one, small businesses were free from the burden of paying the mob protection money. Craft beers and micro brews took off.
What was it like before? Just big beer companies would make beer, and you accepted that. And
Yes.
now craft, one guy started a movement and said, wow, maybe it doesn't have to be like that. Does that sound familiar?
Exactly,
Does that sound familiar?
sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that 5 years ago, it would be hard to find a Sicilian craft beer. But now they are growing and growing, so one day probably Sicily will be well known more for beer rather than for the mafia.
Let's hope to that. That's a good toast.
Let's toast.